The whole time I've been doing this broadcast, I pretty well tried to stay away from politics. I've tried to keep politics where politics goes, and that really wasn't here. And I've tried to keep it out of there. And I made that my policy. But we're today, as I record this, we're 2 weeks away from a presidential election, and I believe the future of the country is important. Now, even though I haven't made politics a big part of these broadcasts, I've always been concerned about politics, and I've followed it since 76. Ever since 1976, I've followed the presidential elections pretty actively. I've watched them, I've studied them, I've become something of a student on the activity itself, and I know a good bit about it. I'm rarely wrong about who I think is going to win election. I've been wrong in the past, and now it wasn't always the person I thought was going to win the election was not the person who won. And I remember one year, in fact, I remember the first year that Bill Clinton was elected president. I went down and told a person the very next day at work, I said, 4 years from now, the Republicans will run Bob Dole against Bill Clinton, and he can't beat him. I said it 4 years today, and I even called the guy that the Republicans would pick, and I called the fact that he couldn't beat him. He'd lose to him. And I was absolutely right. I mean, 4 years ahead of the election, I called it. And so I've known several times, and the people I was voting for, several times I knew they weren't going to win. And I've generally been pretty well right about the elections that I've guessed on. I think I know what's going to happen this year. I tend to believe I know what's going to happen. Something strange is happening in this election. I do believe that Joe Biden hurt himself during the debates, and because of that, the Democrats forced him out, despite the fact he had 14 million votes in several primaries, and the one who's running for the Democrats didn't have any votes at all. These people all voted for Biden. They forced him to step down, which I think is pretty well unconstitutional. They didn't even use the 25th Amendment. They didn't even have the guts to do it that way. They pretty well forced him out. And I think it was dirty. I don't think much of it. The people spoke, and honestly, I believe that he might have been a better candidate for the Democrat Party, even after he failed so badly during that debate and didn't look very good. I believe he might have still been the best candidate for the Democrats to run and have a chance at winning than Kamala Harris. And I just don't think Kamala Harris has what it takes to win this election. Fact is, I think Biden could have recovered from his slip that day during the debates, and I believe he could have possibly recovered and come back and won that. And I believe he should have probably been left on the ticket. I know who I'm supporting in this election, and you probably wouldn't take a lot for you to guess who that is. I've seen people hurting people's finances and their ability to buy groceries, and I've seen it even among those in my own family. I'll just tell you, I know President Trump ran a good economy when he was there the last time. And that right there would be enough for me to vote for him. There's many other reasons that I'm going to vote for President Trump. But I've seen even my friends, I've seen my family hurting, struggling to make ends meet, and inflation just going sky high. It's pushed the price of groceries up. Gasoline, they forced it down here by trickery here recently, and doing the things that Trump would do as president, and doing away with them as soon as the election's over. But I'm going to support President Trump in this election. I like to see my family and people close to me not seem like they're struggling all the time to make ends meet. And for that reason, and also the fact that that I don't believe you should have forced Biden out. I believe it's wrong. I believe it was undemocratic. The people all the time talking about protecting our democracy are doing things that are completely undemocratic. I'm concerned about our border. I'm concerned about crime in this country. I'm concerned about the economy. And all these things, Trump votes the right way on. And that's why I'm supporting him this time around. I know some of you may not agree with me. I may lose some people. I may lose subscribers. Shoot, I may gain them. I don't know. But I do know I'm supporting Donald J. Trump this time. And I've already, well, the simple truth is I've already voted for him. So I'm not trying to decide who I'm going to vote for. I've already cast my vote. Kind of hope you'll do the same. But in any case, that's your decision. This is America, and we still get a vote on these things. I hope you'll decide the same way, because the future of our country, I think, depends on, we can't go 4 more years like the 4 we just had. We can't. And I think America and our future, your kids and their futures, your grandkids, my grandkids, depends on it. So I'm voting Trump this time around. You may disagree with me. You may fall on the other side of this equation. That's your right as an American. And I applaud that. But I'm voting for President Trump. I hope you will too. This week in the Did You Know section that we've been doing, I want to talk about, I wrote a book here a few years ago. It's not back in print yet. It's called The Evil Day. And it involves serial killers in the Old West. And there's a serial killer that appears in this book. And that's what you may not have known. There was a family called the Bender family, and their killings, and it is believed that they're responsible for the deaths of more than 20 people in Kansas in the 1870s. A traveler would come and stop at their house, and which was rather commonplace back in those days, stop at the house to spend the night, and people fed them. Well, if you stopped at the Bender household, they were likely to kill you and rob you and bury your body. And all this was discovered. I think they found bodies underneath the house and everything else after the Bender family was long gone. Nobody to this day even knows what happened to the Bender family, where they went. It was only discovered the killings, people showing up there and missing, and then bodies being underneath the house and found there buried on the property, that people discovered that the Benders had actually been killing people, and it explained some disappearances that nobody could explain any otherwise. And that was and they had been doing this for a long time, and they just upped and disappeared, and nobody ever knows what happens to them, or where they went, what happened to them. And that's your Did You Know segment for today, is that there were serial killers in the Old West. And yes, they did harm and kill people. And yes, some of them were never caught. Anyway, I thank you for stopping in. I'll catch you next week. Bye now.